Okay, good morning all. Today, so we are going to see the two other separation techniques. So in the last class, we have seen two separation techniques. Could you recall? So what are the two techniques we have learned? So one is centrifugal method. Centrifugal method, okay, or centrifuge method. Centrifuge is that you are separating the solute, the solid particles, which are not dissolved in a solvent. That we are separating them as a centrifuge using a centrifugal setup. Another one is yes, you are right, Srinija, solvent extraction method. So using solvent extraction method, Reshni, you are asking numerical problems for the cycle test. So if the numerical problems are given in the textbook exercise, then I will include it. Okay. So please go through the textbook evaluation alone. Okay. Fine. So listen, solvent extraction method is suitable for two solvents or two liquids which are immiscible. That means they are not mixing with each other. Okay. So that is one thing. So just 1 minute. So excuse me, just okay, can you hear me? Okay, sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, the two liquids which are immiscible can be separated using the solvent extraction technique. Okay, so today we shall see two other methods. So one is distillation, another one is fractional distillation. Okay, Srinija, so could you please listen to the class and you can ask the doubt at the end. Or you can type the question at the end, Srinija, I will clarify. Okay. So listen. Yes, that chromatography tissue paper I will show. So listen. One is distillation and another one is fractional distillation. Okay, so I'm sharing the screen and then I will show you two videos. One is on distillation and another one is for fractional distillation. Okay, I hope you are able to see the screen. Listen. So two techniques. So one is called distillation. Okay, so distillation. So we just heat the mixture, okay, and heat the mixture of two different liquids, so which are having different boiling points, okay, different boiling points. So that should be greater than 25 Kelvin, okay. So two different liquids which are having different boiling points, and the boiling point should be greater than 25 Kelvin, then we can go for distillation technique. So what do we do in the distillation is that you have a mixture of different liquids. Okay, so there are different mixture. Okay, so many different mixtures are there. Okay, and you are boiling it. You are boiling the mixture. Okay, and when you boil, what happens? The liquids will be evaporating. Okay, so it will be evaporated. So first principle is evaporation. So once the liquid which is having the lesser boiling point gets evaporated, you can collect these vapors and cool it. That is called condensation. Okay. Okay, the distillation is having two steps. The first step is evaporation, second step is condensation. You can have different liquids with different boiling points. Say for example, you can have sea water. For example, you have a sea water. Okay, you have a sea water. So which contains so many salts dissolved in it. Okay, many salts are dissolved in it, and the sea water is not suitable for drinking. Okay, sea water is not suitable for drinking, but you can convert this sea water into potable water. Okay, how do we do that? The same principle. Okay, we adopt simple distillation or distillation. Okay, this is the name is called simple distillation. We adopt a method called simple distillation. So what do? The first step, we evaporate the water, namely the sea water, and we collect the vapors and we cool it. The process called condensation. Condensation is the process of cooling the vapors. Process of cooling the vapors. Okay, so first you heat the sea water, you collect the vapor, you cool it, you will be getting the distilled water or potable water. So are you able to understand the principle? So this is the principle behind simple distillation. Okay, so this is the simple principle of distillation. So Yatu, what you are asking? Can we separate mustard from milk? What do you mean by mustard? You mean how to separate milk from water, isn't it? Yatu, are you asking, can we separate milk and water? No. So please, I'm sorry, I'm not able to understand this. Okay, so you are asking milkmaid. See, so we will be having another topic on solutions. Okay. Homogeneous and heterogeneous solutions. Okay. So when the solute is completely dissolved in the solvent, and if the solution is uniform, the solution is uniform throughout its constituent particles, then it is called homogeneous solution. And it is very difficult to separate the constituents from the homogeneous solution. So what you are talking about is the solution of milk. So milk will be forming a homogeneous solution. Okay. Heterogeneous solution means you can separate the constituents by some physical methods as well as through some chemical methods. Okay, because the constituents are not uniform throughout. Okay, and the centrifugation technique is adopted to separate cream from milk. Okay, to separate cream from milk, the centrifugation method is adopted. So the fat which is dissolved in milk, namely that water, okay, the solvent is almost milk. Okay, milk is the amount of water is also there. So milk contains water, fat, and other nutrients. Okay, that fat can be separated from the milk through the method of centrifugation. Okay, But you are asking about Milkmaid, whether it is a brand name or what. I'm not aware of that Milkmaid. Okay, so I'm sorry, Yatu. So is this service your question? You can separate the cream or the fat contents which are dissolved in milk through the centrifugation method. Okay, and the Milkmaid, Srinija is saying that it is a condensed milk. So I'm not aware of that. I'm sorry, I will check and get back. Okay. So the only thing you can separate from milk is that you can separate the fat which is dissolved in water. Milk contains fat, water, and other nutrients. Using the centrifugation technique, you can separate the cream, and that cream is prepared, and that cream is used to make what is that, ghee, okay, butter, ghee, etc., etc. Okay, you can separate. So using that some fermentation techniques, you can prepare some curd, and then you can get some butter, etc., etc. Okay. Okay. So condensed milk is called Milkmaid. Okay, thank you. So I will discuss it later. So you will be learning about homogeneous and heterogeneous solutions, as well as you will be learning about the milk solution. So there I will discuss. Okay. Listen. See, so this is a simple distillation technique that uses the two principles called evaporation and condensation. You boil it, collect the vapor, cool it, you will get distilled water. Okay, so that is what is called simple distillation. And another technique is called fractional distillation. I will show you videos for both now. Okay, so another technique is called fractional distillation. And this fractional distillation is utilized when the constituents of a mixture, there are so many constituents. Okay, you can, if you take a mixture, there would be so many constituents. So if those constituent particles are having a boiling point less than 25 Kelvin, then you can adopt for fractional distillation. Okay, you can adopt for fractional distillation. Normally, the petroleum refineries. Okay, petroleum refineries. So that is from crude oil, you are extracting petroleum. Okay, so petroleum means not only petrol, diesel, kerosene, paraffin, okay, naphtha, and other liquids. Okay, even tar. Okay, coal tar. Okay, that is also a product of petroleum. Okay, so to separate those materials, we are using fractional distillation. So where the boiling points of the constituents will be less than 25 Kelvin, there each and every temperature, suppose if you are heating from 400 degrees Celsius, you will be getting some liquid that would be collected separately. If you further increase the temperature to 600 degrees Celsius, some other liquid will be coming up. Suppose if you increase the temperature further to 1000 degrees Celsius, some other liquid or some other petroleum product will be coming out. Okay, so that would be fractional. Okay, you will be having a fractionating column. I will show you the video. At different temperatures, different products will be coming out. That is called the fractional distillation. So another technique is called chromatography. Okay, chromatography. So this will be used to separate different colors in dyes. Okay, so different solutes. So the dyes are made out of dyes are the colors. Okay, so color ink. So they are made out of different solute in different solvents. You can separate those using chromatography or the paper chromatography. You can use it. Now let us watch what is simple distillation, what is fractional distillation. That is, I will be showing the video of petroleum refining industry. Okay, so basic principle is evaporation and condensation. Okay, evaporation and condensation. Okay, simply you can do that even within your home. Okay, I will show you the, or I will tell you the simple method to understand this principle. Assume that you are making some idlis. Okay, your mother is making some idli or other boiled food item. Okay, so they will be having a idli pan. Okay, so you'll be having some idli making vessel or cooker. Okay, idli cooker, and you could see that when your mother opens the lid, what will happen? The vapor will be coming out of those pans, idli pans. Am I right? Have you not seen this? Okay, steam will be coming out. Yes, exactly. Steam or water vapor will be coming out. So if you look at the lid, okay, suppose if you open the lid and look at the lid, and if you just keep the lid like this, okay, so you could see that the water will be immediately condensed. Okay, so as far as the lid is closed with the container, it is having boiling water. Therefore, entire vapor will be deposited on the lid. So once the lid is open, it is making contact with the atmosphere where the temperature is lesser than the vessel. Therefore, immediately those vapors will be getting cooled and you can see some water will be flowing from the lid. Have you seen this? Have you seen the water droplets? That is called condensation. Okay, first one is evaporation. Okay, so water is getting evaporated once you apply the heat. So once it is converted into steam or some gaseous state, when the temperature is reduced, please understand the principle. When the steam is coming up at higher temperature, namely the 100 degrees Celsius, water is boiling, okay? So when you open the lid, what happens? You are making some atmospheric contact for the lid. Therefore, entire vapor will be condensed on the lid. You can see some amount of water, that is pure water, okay? That is pure water. Okay, so that is called evaporation and condensation. Now, just watch the video. Are you able to see the screen? So please confirm if you are able to see the screen. Yes or no? Can you see the screen? Yes. Okay, fine. Thank you. See, so this is the apparatus or the setup for the simple distillation technique. Okay, you have a distillation flask. You have a thermometer inserted through a stopcock, and the side you have a condenser. Condenser means there will be some water inlet. The water will be coming inside and it will be going outside. Okay, there is no contact between the glass tube, that white tube, and this blue color condenser. The water which is circulated through this condenser is cooling the vapors coming out of the glass pipe. Okay, so once it is cooled, it is collected in the beaker here. Okay, so you have a solution of water and some acetone. Okay, it is a chemical, and when you heat it, what happens is that acetone, being a chemical, it is having a particular boiling point. Water is having some other boiling point. Initially, the acetone or water which is having a lesser boiling point will be, normally acetone will be having some lesser boiling point. Okay, so that will be, the water will be boiling, acetone will be converted into vapor, and this vapor enters through this glass tube, and this glass tube conveys the vapor through this condenser. So being chill outside, entire vapor is getting condensed and becomes a liquid, and it is collected in the beaker. You can separate acetone through this separation. The left one, the which is left in the beaker in the distillation flask, is only water. Okay, so please observe, it is about a couple of minutes.
When the temperature hits 56 degrees Celsius.
See, acetone evaporates at 56 degrees Celsius. Okay, water evaporates at how many degrees Celsius? So what is the boiling point of water? What is the boiling point of water? What is the boiling point of water? 100 degrees Celsius. Good, Niranjana, Srinija and Jesslyn. Good. See, so therefore you can see that this 56 and 100, what is the difference? Difference is about 44. Okay, therefore it is greater than, so difference should be greater than 25 Kelvin. It is degree Celsius or Kelvin scale. Difference is same. Okay, 56 and 100 has a difference of 44. even if you convert this into Kelvin scale, you have to have 273. Then even then the difference would be 44, which is greater than 25. You can separate two liquids. So listen what happens.
Acetone starts to vaporize. These vapors condense in the water condenser. The condensed acetone gets collected in the beaker. When all the acetone vaporizes, water is left in the flask. Acetone is collected in the beaker.
Okay, this is the separation technique. Okay, so you have a mixture of two liquids, immiscible liquids. Okay, even if they are miscible, you can use this technique because so two different liquids having different boiling points. Okay, so it is having a boiling point of 56. It is having a boiling point of water is having a boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius. So initially, all the acetone will be coming out of this, and then you can separate the water. So instead of acetone and water, you can also use seawater. Assume that if you are having seawater here in this distillation flask, what will happen once you vaporize? So once you heat it, the seawater getting evaporated. So it will be evaporated into the flask and it will be coming through this simple glass tube. It will be condensed. You can see the pure distilled water. Can you tell me the real-time example of evaporation and condensation of seawater? Real-time example. Simple and real-time example of, yes, Siona, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, yes, Ramadesh, rain. Okay, rain. So that is natural distillation. The nature doesn't have, yes, Rahini, you are right, rainfall. Nature doesn't have any distillation flask or something. Nature, the sun heats seawater, it gets evaporated, it goes into the sky, it is again condensed, okay, it is getting cooled, then it will come to rain to us. Rainwater is pure distilled water. Rainwater is pure distilled water. Okay, but seawater is a brackish water. Okay, it contains so many salts in it. Okay, so are you able to understand the technique of simple distillation? Heat the content or the mixture, evaporate it, condense the evaporated liquid or other content, you collect it. Okay, so condensation is an important process in this distillation technique. Okay, so without condensing, you cannot get the liquid. You have to condense it, condense the vapor. Okay, evaporation and condensation is the process involved in simple distillation. Are you able to understand this? Is there any doubt in this? Is it clear? Is it clear? Any doubt? So please type if you have any doubt. If no doubts, we shall pass on to the fractional distillation of petroleum. Okay. The next one is the industrial process. Okay. See, listen carefully. The next one is the industrial process. We have another 6 minutes. I hope I can show this video, entire video within 6 minutes. So this is a model refining industry. Okay, it's a petroleum refining process. Animated video is this. Here you can see different products are coming out of that petroleum at different temperatures. Okay, so please listen carefully.
Process called distilling. After oil is superheated, it becomes vapor. The vapor is fed into the distillation unit. As it rises, it begins with a process called distilling. Refining begins with a process called distilling. After oil is superheated, it becomes vapor. The vapor is fed into the distillation unit. As it rises and cools, the vapor turns back into a liquid. Using stacks of trays, the liquid is easily collected and separated by weight. The lighter and medium weight liquids require less processing before they're ready to be used in cars and trucks. The heavier liquids need more processing to become useful. A process called cracking is used to maximize the usefulness of heavy oil. Heavy oil has long strings of carbon and hydrogen molecules. Using a catalyst, these molecules can be broken into smaller chains, transforming the heavy oil into lighter, more valuable fluids. Reforming is a process that increases the amount of gasoline produced from crude oil. One of the products separated in the distilling process is a liquid called naphtha. The number of carbon atoms in naphtha is about the same as the number found in gasoline, but their structure is more complex. Reforming rearranges the naphtha molecule, turning it into a usable gasoline-like molecule. Blending is a process of mixing different refinery products to make finished petroleum fuels. Gasoline, for example, is blended to achieve octane standards, creating the grades of gasoline you see at the pump: regular, mid-grade, and premium, that are necessary to meet the needs of specific engine types. Treating is a process used to produce cleaner gasoline, which helps protect both the environment and our health. Gasoline molecules contain impurities like sulfur that can be removed. When the molecules are heated and come in contact with a special catalyst, a chemical reaction occurs that strips the sulfur away. These sulfur compounds are used as fertilizers and in pharmaceuticals. Nothing goes to waste in a refinery. Liquids require less processing before they're ready to be used in cars and trucks.
See, actually, I wanted this only this portion, but this video contains some more information. So here you can see different names here: kerosene, diesel, like this. Different fractionating columns are there. Okay, so there are so many fractionating columns. Okay, so I will discuss again this fractional distillation in the next class. Okay, so you will be having different fractions. Okay, there should be different stages. So in this simple distillation, you had only one solution and only one vapor was coming out, and one condenser was there, and there is only one collecting beaker. But here I will show you. So here there should be different levels. Okay, so like this. So they will be having different fractionating columns. Okay, so the top one, second one is green, and then brown, like this. You will be having different fractionating columns like this. Okay, so they will be arranged like this vertically. So when you heat that crude oil, that is the petroleum oil, what will happen? That will be converted into gas. It will go up and it will be cooled by the surroundings at different temperatures, and you can collect at different stages. Okay, so each level, okay, suppose if I will take only these two levels. If you look at the second level or the first level, at a particular level, so it will be having some collecting device in the side, so which is converted into some liquid, will be collected through the right hand side collector. Okay, and also the second level will also be having some collectors. So when the liquid which is cooled, which is converted into, the petroleum gas which is heated and which is cooled at a particular point, will be collected through the side collectors. Okay, you will be having several collectors on the side. Okay, so that is the fractional distillation, difference between the simple and fractional. Okay, in simple distillation you will be having only one collector. In fractional distillation, you will be having some columns called fractionating columns. Okay, so vertical columns you will be having. At each level, each petroleum product will be coming out. The bottom one would be the residue called the tar. Okay, tar, which is used to lay the roads, tar road. Okay, other gasoline, and you have diesel, you have petrol, you have kerosene, you have naphtha. Okay, so all these are byproducts of petroleum refining. Okay, so thank you. I will stop here. We will discuss in the next class. Thank you, sir.